How's it going, my friends? Back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite lenses in the world. I didn't know if I was actually going to make this video because it's a sweet ass lens, but the problem with some of these videos is like you make them and then everybody rushes to eBay to go buy them, and it just jacks the price up. I've already got my copy, so it's a little bit selfish, I guess, but I wanted to let you guys know because if you're in the market for a seriously good portrait lens, manual focus, something of very high quality that has a lot of strengths if you don't mind manual focusing, and I've gone into the reasons why you should like manual focusing. It's fun, makes you better, you focus in on your subject, you're very present. This lens is for you, okay? This is the RE Auto Topcor 58 1.4 lens. Man, I can't say enough good things. We're going to go through this. I'm going to go through all the points, the reasons why I love it, a couple of things I don't like. I'm going to show you guys some footage, some pictures, things like that, some behind the scenes stuff. But let's just talk about a few things before we get into that. First of all, the 58 millimeter focal length. It's one of my favorites. You guys know I did a Dream Lens series on the 58 1.4 Nikon G lens. That's still in my bag. It's a crazy camera, and the focal length is so different. It just gives that little extra reach. Most people are used to using 50s. It gives you that little extra reach that goes across and just helps so much to separate the subject from the background. When I'm shooting with the 58, I know that it's a perfect portrait lens, but then also I can still get a little bit extra into the frame. That's what I love about the 58. It's a really versatile thing. It is more focused on isolating your subject from whatever is going on around them. It's a great portrait lens, but just the focal length I feel is unique, and it has something special. The fall off with the 58s, it's not just the G lens. The G lens fall off is beautiful, but all 58s, especially if they're high quality lenses, you have a really nice fall off. This thing focuses pretty close. It focuses down to about 12 inches, so you can really just blur everything out. If you're isolating something, it's just going to be that tack sharp. Whatever you focus on, the focal plane is going to be very, very, very thin. Let's talk about the build quality first. Man, this is a great, great built lens. It's of the highest quality. Now, Topcor made two versions. They had the UV version, and then they had the RE version. The RE version is their professional line. UVs are still nice. They're still good. You can find them online for a lot cheaper. But the REs are the real professional lines. They're the step above. They're incredible build quality. They're incredibly just well made, and you're not going to find any issues with the build quality here. The focus ring is very, very smooth. It does have a long focus throw. Now, some people like that if they do a lot of video. I don't like super long focus throws, but the thing with this is it's long enough so where it's great, smooth transitions for videos, but it's also short enough to where, if you get it within, a good range, maybe like the 3 to 10 foot range, you can turn it with without having to flip your hand over and, keep making turns on it. So, the thing with manual lenses, guys, is you want to start to get good at them. The way you do it is you kind of rock back and forth and then settle in the middle to wherever, to whatever is you're trying to get in focus. So you just go to one side to where it's out of focus, go to the other side, and then kind of dial it in the middle. And if you're getting in, if you know where your subject is, okay, that's about 6 feet out, you can just kind of get in a range, and it's much easier. But going from infinity all the way back to, close focus is, it's about 2 turns. You have to switch your hands. But for video, it's a very smooth transition, super nice. The aperture ring is right on the top here. It's like a click style, which, that's one of the things I don't absolutely love about it. If you go all the way over to the 1.4 side, it's a small click, and it kind of does maybe come out to the f2. I found myself when I'm out shooting with it, I find myself having to click back to 1.4 a lot. It's just maybe just the way it's designed, but it feels very sturdy. It's just it doesn't take a lot of pressure to kick it out to the next little notch there. But I shoot this wide open all the time, and it's great. Let's talk about, let's see here. Okay, one of my favorite things with this lens that really makes it stand out is the colors. A lot of people think that colors that you get are just from the sensor, or that's the majority of the reason why colors, look a certain way. Sensor obviously has a lot to do with it, but the colors, so the light that goes through the lens, basically light is, you guys know, it's just, without getting too scientific, it's an array of colors, okay? And so when the light comes through and it gets chopped up and bounced around through the glass and hits the sensor, it can change the light. Okay, that's why you have different lenses that render kind of different colors differently. You know, some have like, you know, more magenta tones, some have green, you know, some are cooler, some are warmer, things like that. I mean, they're very subtle differences, and a lot of times you don't notice them until you're going into post. But straight out of camera, these colors are beautiful. They are beautiful. And you guys know I do shoot, I'm doing this, you know, the behind the scenes and the B-roll stuff here in color just so you guys can see. But I do shoot in black and white. And so, you know, I shoot all my footage in black and white. And then when I import it, every time I shoot with this lens, I'm just blown away by the colors. They really are easy to work with. The skin tones are great. And it's just a beautiful type of lens. They just come out straight out of camera. The colors that you get out of it, you can pull out of it, are just great. The RE versions that you guys want to look at, they made a 35, a 58, an 85, and a 100 in these primes. Those are their, like I said, the RE lines are the real, and I know I have a Boston accent, so RE lines are the professional lines. So you guys want to look at the 35, the 58, the 85, and the 100 if you guys are interested in the REs. Let's talk about the bokeh and the lens flare. Man, this thing is buttery smooth. It really is. The bokeh on this thing, the separation between subject and background, and I don't like to focus on bokeh 100% of the time, but if you're looking for a great portrait lens that's really going to give you some dreamy kind of bokeh effects and separation effects, this is for you. See, I've gone on and on about how much I love the 50 1.8 S lens. It's great. It's absolutely beautiful. It has some great bokeh as well, but that lens is so sharp. There's such a definition between the subject and the background. Sometimes it's so defined and so good, it almost can look a little artificial. This, it's a definite blurring out of the backgrounds, and it looks beautiful, but it's just a smooth transition from your subject to the background and out around is really pretty. It's one of the best that I've ever seen, and this is really truly one of the best portrait lenses that I've ever used. The flare is also great too. It's like, you know, I did the Auto Yashinon video before this. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. It's a great lens. It produces some really unique flares. This isn't super unique. It's not a unique flare, but they're really nice. They're not overcrowded or, you know, shooting across the frame like crazy. It's even, I don't have a lens hood for this. So even shooting like, you know, very close to the sun in bright daylight, you don't get just completely washed out images. There are flares, which I like because it kind of represents, you know, when I see flare in photographs, especially if they're portraits, I like it because it represents the sun. Like I said in my last video, if you're looking straight at the sun or you're kind of in the corner of your eye, you're going to get flares anyway, so it's almost like a natural thing when you see it in photos. So as long as it's not too pronounced and you can point it, you can backlight things without having just a washed out look, it's great. And that's exactly what this does. It produces some really good flares if you want them, but also too, if you can just, you don't even have to use a lens hood. You can kind of just position it so the sun's not in the frame and you're not going to get crazy washed out images. So it's really pleasing in my opinion. I really like it. The black and white on this, oh my god, guys. Okay, this is the Monochrome Memoirs channel, so you guys know, and if you see my Instagram and the stuff I post on Facebook, things like that, I you know, black and white is what I love. I shoot black and white in the, you know, images when I'm looking through the viewfinder. If I'm looking at the back screen, all I see is black and white, and I don't convert to color till later if I'm going to do that. Not all lenses render black and white images the same. They just don't. They don't capture the gradient between black to white and the grays in between the same. They just don't. And lower quality lenses generally don't have as many gray tones, and the transitions don't look as nice. That's one of the things about this lens that truly stands out, is the transitions from deep blacks all the way to lights or whites, you know, all that whole range through. Make it so you're getting a huge range and things stand out in the picture. They render beautifully, and it's one of the best lenses I've used for black and white. Just the portraits you can get out of it, man, they are absolutely beautiful. So 3D pop, micro contrast, black and white images. This is for you. Let's talk about sharpness. You guys know, I've said this before, that a lot of times I feel like lenses nowadays are almost too sharp. You know, they are. You know, a lot of times, like these S lenses, I love them. They're absolutely phenomenal. They're a workhorse. I use them at weddings all the time. They function phenomenally on the Z cameras. But a lot of times when I'm doing especially close-up portraits, I always have to put some skin softening on it, because you can go in and blow that thing up and you can literally see every single pore in their face. And that's just not flattering sometimes. These, you don't have to worry about this. It's beautifully sharp, just enough. Just enough so you can see what's in frame, everything's crisp, you can see, you know, exactly what you wanted to focus on is perfectly there, but it's not gonna make it so you can see the inside of every pore in their nose, or you can see like every single, you know, wrinkle on their face or something like that. When you're shooting people in portraits, that's not always what you want. So I just think that now there's a baseline of sharpness that we need. Obviously, we don't want things blurry like way back in the day, but nowadays you're using top quality lenses from you know, the back area. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. They are perfectly sharp and they're great. It looks awesome. So let's get to one of the negatives, the cost and the availability of this lens. So like I said, it's a 58 1.4 RE Topcor. It's not a widely available lens, and I think that's just because people love them, they hold on to them, they use them all the times, and they shoot them. You know, a lot of times lenses just are like collector's items. They're things that you buy just to have, and they sit on your shelf. They're kind of, we're photographers, we like to look at this stuff, but you don't ever really use it, you know? It just kind of sits there. This is the type of lens that you buy, you're gonna use. You're gonna use it all the time because it's just fun. It's fun and it's beautiful and it produces something unique. So you're not going to be able to find them on eBay. They are on there, but you're going to kind of pay a cost for it. So this one was in pretty mint condition. I paid about $250 for it, I think, with the shipping, and that was a good price. I searched around a lot. You could go on right now and buy them for like $400 or $500. No question, there's a few on there. But if you want to get it around the $250, $300 range, you're probably going to have to look or wait for a while or bid on some stuff and really pay attention to the auction, because they're not around a lot. Like I said, they're a few $100s, so you guys kind of have to, you know, the last video I did a $40 lens. It's a great lens. It's got its strengths, its weaknesses. It's not something you're going to use all the time. But the thing about this, if you don't mind manual focusing, this is a lens that you're going to use a lot. It really is. So if you're going to pay $250 to, you know, $400, that range, I honestly look at it as a good investment because it's something that you're going to use a lot. It's not just a spice pepper that you bring out every once in a while to kind of spice things up. This is a lens that's going to stay on your body. It stays on mine a lot, and you're just going to go out there and shoot things. Manual focusing really is something that a lot of people should get into if they want to increase their photography skills, because it forces you to slow down, be in the moment, really take in what's going on, and just be more in tune with your camera. It's not just pressing the back button focus and getting something in, nailing a bunch of images. It's learning how to work the camera, learning where things, you know, the distance between things, what looks good, what doesn't. You really got to learn that stuff, and manual focus lenses can really help. This thing has a sweet spot for bokeh images, separation of subject and background. If you place a subject about 7 feet away from you, and then the background is about 7 feet away, that looks great, okay? The subject separation, the way it's framed, looks perfect for portraits. So just remember that, guys. The mount is an Exacta mount. Fotassi, I guess, is the name of this mount that I got. I'll put the link in the description for you guys. But it fits perfectly to the Z, so it's an Exacta to Z mount. And this thing just stays on the lens. It's great. And the thing I like about the Fotassi, I don't know, however you pronounce it, machined very well for the Z cameras. They just go in, click in very nice. There's no wiggle. It sits in really nice, and it's solid. So this thing does focus to infinity, no problem. So you put this mount on it, you get it with the lens, and they're very available. So Exacta to Z mount. Let's see, do I have anything else to talk about? Not really, guys. Basically, that's my dream lens review on this. I know that you guys are going to love it. It has a lot of strengths, very few weaknesses, except for the price and the availability and maybe the focus throw. But you guys are going to love it if you pick it up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and any questions on it or anything like that, feel free to drop it in the comments or send me an email. And like I said, the links to the lens mount will be in the description. Till the next video, my friends.